My name is Kaylin, and this is my unit on Good Driving Amelia, Bedelia, which focuses on double meaning words. My case study was about Adele, an 8-year-old female in the 2nd grade. She's got a primary diagnosis of autism with a secondary diagnosis of speech and language. She is verbal to an extent. She definitely needs a very long time to process and to form those responses that she needs or wants to get out to people. She does enjoy being interactive with others, but typically what she really enjoys is kind of watching other people. So as far as reading and literacy, she is able to read. She does struggle with the vocabulary and understanding basically the words that are in the book. So that's why the goal I've chosen is about her identifying double meaning words that don't make sense in context and then kind of knowing or describing the difference between the meanings. The book, Good Driving Amelia, Bedelia, is loaded with double meaning words, which is the primary reason I chose this book, because it's almost on every page. You get 2 words that are also they're not uncommon words either. So they're not words that she possibly knows yet, but they're not also they're words that, she might have heard at least one of the meanings to them. So I wanted to make sure there was a nice set of vocabulary in here, and I do think that's what this book offers. It's also a very entertaining book. It's very silly, and it's a fun read. So I think both boys and girls would enjoy reading this book. So the adaptations that I've made. The first thing I did to the book was I cut the spine off, and then I taped each page with some laminating paper or tape. The reason I did this was the laminating was just to make it stronger and last longer. The reason I cut the spine off was so I could put it in this binder. So the book would lay flat. And the reason I needed it to lay flat was because throughout the book, I'm going to be asking Adele to use her icons from her communication board, and just to ask a student to read, to comprehend, to answer questions, to use icons, to turn the pages, and to hold a book. I just thought maybe I could eliminate one of those frustrating tasks and have the book lay flat for her so she wouldn't have to hold the book anymore. I've also put in fluffers, and these are just something I truly love for the books with my kids, because anything I can do to eliminate a little bit of frustration, I feel like, I might as well. So not fiddling with pages to pull them up is just one way I can help them, and that's why I did the fluffers, because it just cuts down on some stress. I also took some of these Post-its that are basically like highlighting tape, and I've placed them on the words, and I've used different colors, again, to highlight that these words are the same, but they have double meaning, to just give her another visual representation. You can do this with just regular highlighter. I like the option that I can take it off and use it again for a different topic, a different kid, or I can challenge her and have her highlight the word with the tape as well. So just a different way to level and modify or adapt. And then another adaptation was I used the icons and I put Post-it glue on the back so it's reusable. And at the beginning, I'm going to have the icons right next to the word that they mean to give her a visual of the actual meaning. But later in the book, I might pull both down here. And as I'm reading, I might ask her, Amelia, Bedelia, stop the car. Steer straight ahead, said Mr. Rogers. And I could stop there and say, Adele, what meaning does Mr. Rogers intend when he says steer straight ahead? And she would be able to pull off the little steering wheel and put it next to it, or just tap to it too if she didn't want to pull it off. So just a way to use the book. The communication board. I've set up the communication board with all the core vocabulary around the outside, and that was just because to me it's easier to use and see. Plus, the board can get bigger or smaller, and the vocab will always be on the outside. The fringe vocabulary is on the inside of the board, and I have actually used 2 of the icons in a different part of the book. But even with the fringe vocabulary, I put the Post-it glue on because you can reuse the glue. Or reuse the icons, I'm sorry. And the other reason I did that was because again, to give myself options and possible leveling if she's made progress. I typed up the definitions with no pictures for each word. This is just another way to possibly kind of challenge her or to create an activity with these icons. I could also interchange either the words or the definition. So just different options if you can, if you have that kind of time to do it. One of the things I was talking about was using your icons for an activity. This is just a little binder divider that you can write on and erase. One of the things I thought you could do with it is you could match the pictures and the meaning. And so if you have your pictures and meaning with the reusable glue or even Velcro, if that's what you were using, she could, and this is great data collection, take the pictures and match the meaning to each one of the double meaning words. And this is good practice, good data, but it's just another way to use her communication board throughout the lesson and in different ways to keep engaging and not doing the same things over and over. I think I think that one of the strengths for this unit that I have is that I have multiple ways I can either match her progress and keep kind of exposing her to new and engaging ways to answer these questions and to identify multiple meaning words. I think that there's lots of ways to level the book if it's not even just the one student I'm working with. So I think that's one of the strengths. I think one of the areas of kind of need or weakness, I guess you could say, is that the topic itself is quite hard. After working kind of through the lessons and the communication board in the book, there's a lot of components here that you can't just kind of gloss over. You have to master before you can get to the next one. She has to be able to identify that the word has double meaning. Then she has to be able to know the definitions and describe the difference between the definition. All of these things take a lot of communication, a lot of interacting, and then a lot of practice and repetition. So I think through data, possibly what I might find is that I might have to go back and maybe take a step back and break the goal down even farther. I might find that it's a goal that I have to continue to work on and tweak some. So I think an area that definitely would have to be looked at with this unit. I hope you enjoyed everything. I'm looking forward to any feedback, and thank you very much.